The DEA is in its final stages of deciding whether to reclassify cannabis, a move that would consider it a less dangerous drug. During the federal comment period, which just wrapped up, a record 43,000 public comment submissions were sent to the DEA about the decision. It's clear this is really hitting a nerve with people. Here in Washington state, it's now been 10 years since recreational marijuana was first sold on store shelves, and it appears we are entering a new era in cannabis. While this would be a new federal rule, many here in Washington state would see big changes, including small business owners, scientists, and consumers.
These days, Ryan Kunkel is spending more time on the floor of his Auburn casino compared to his other business. He says this one is less of a gamble.
Why get into casinos?
A lot of it was predicated on what we knew was coming, some kind of federal change. We didn't realize it was going to come in the form of reclassification.
The reclassification of cannabis. Kunkel was one of the first in Washington state to get into the retail marijuana business. At its peak, his Have a Heart company owned 22 retail licenses in 6 states. But he's now getting out of the business and selling his stores one by one. Today, he's down to just a handful left in the Seattle market.
It's not viable much longer.
Kunkel says he's reading the tea leaves and believes we're witnessing the beginning of the end of small cannabis retail stores. Since 1970, cannabis has been considered by the DEA as a Schedule I drug, the most severe, putting it on par with heroin and meth. But the latest proposal is for the DEA to reclassify cannabis to Schedule III, considering it less of a risk and one step below outright legalization. In Kunkel's eyes, this gives big business the green light to move in.
It's a $60 billion business in the U.S. There's no way that big box retailers are not going to try and go after that.
He points to a similar evolution in the liquor industry. In 2011, Washington voters agreed to end the state monopoly on liquor, putting sales in the hands of private business, and liquor stores disappeared.
At some point in the future, cannabis will be sold next to alcohol and tobacco at grocery stores and everywhere else.
While rescheduling could eventually be banned for small business, it could mean a new frontier in the lab.
During the 70s, that was when there was reefer madness.
Marijuana, the burning weed with its roots in hell.
And this idea that cannabis would make people sort of crazed individuals. We know now that that's not true.
Dr. Susan Ferguson is the director of the Addictions, Drug, and Alcohol Institute at UW. She says current federal rules have researchers hamstrung, and rescheduling cannabis at the federal level will finally give them access to more cannabis varieties. Marijuana is still considered so dangerous, they're required to keep it under strict lock and key. Ferguson says reschedule would unlock new research and could lead to new non-addictive treatments for pain and other diseases like epilepsy.
Rescheduling to a Schedule III would do what for your research?
So we're trying to understand the patterns of behavior that occur in people. How does that impact the brain? How does that impact behavior? You have a plant with all of these different chemicals, and each variety is slightly different in the chemical makeup. So the next great cure is probably out there, and if we were just studying this one version of it, we won't find that.
By studying the effects of cannabis on the brains of mice, UW researchers hope to find the next great cure.
If we were able to be allowed to have local strains of cannabis, that could be a game changer. It might just help us be able to model the human situation a little bit more closely.
Opponents of cannabis legalization point to addiction and cannabis use disorder among teens. But Dr. Ferguson believes quality cannabis research will open doors.
And so as researchers, I think it's really important to be able to kind of open up the floodgates of research to be able to help inform the public, help inform policymakers, and let those people make their own informed decisions.
Shuffling within the billion-dollar cannabis industry is certain to bring change. Kunkel is one who's betting on it.
Less of a gamble to be in the casino business.
Feels like it. Although this comes with its own, its own swings.
No, you don't want
This is legal.
We do.
So there's a different element when I go to bed at night that I don't have to worry about that I do in cannabis.
It's still not clear when the DEA could reschedule cannabis at the federal level, but it's signaled it will not make any decisions until at least December. Jake Wittenberg, King 5 News.